Toastmaster, and good evening, and guests, and fellow Toastmaster, good evening.
Good evening.
Hope everybody had a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Sign mentally before you sign. A lot of times people sign things before they actually really take time out and really actually go through whatever document to sign. You got to look at the fine print. But real estate is big business today. People are making a lot of money in real estate, and they're losing a lot of money too, all because of how they approach it. So what I wanted to do today is kind of like give you some background in real estate and help you, anybody that want to venture out in real estate and make a lot of money and know exactly what they have to be up against. Then I'm going to try to go over that. So I'm going to have some visual aids also with that process. Now, real estate, I don't know how many people have bought houses here? Sold houses?
This year.
Okay. First of all, the real estate process is most of the time people hire a real estate. If you're a buyer, you want to hire a real estate agent because you really don't have to pay the money. It's good to have someone just take you around and show you your house and show you what you look for because they got access to all the houses that's on the market. Anyway, when you go out, usually the best thing to do is get pre-qualified and then go with a bank and get a commitment letter so that you have all the information you need. So if you see a house that you really like, people more than likely will go with you because you have a commitment letter. A lot of times, if they don't know whether the person actually get a house or not, they may not go with that particular person. So you want to try to get your pre-approval and a commitment letter before you start. That way, you won't be looking at something that you really don't really qualify for. Get your hopes up high and can't get it. That's very disappointing when you do it. But anyway, once you find a house, you have to put everything in writing. It has to be done on a contract. So you put the contract in on the house, and for whatever price. Now, you can offer whatever you want for the house. No one tells you what to offer. You can offer whatever you want. If the person agrees and accepts your contract on the house, then the next step is that you would actually, you will go to the bank and start your loan process. You have a certain amount of days to do that. You take the loan process, and you want to get, you want to ask them whether it's a disclosure statement or a disclaimer on the house, and you want to get a property inspection because a lot of things you don't know about a house. You want to get an inspection. A lot of people try to avoid it. It's worth the $300 and find out later you got to pay $5,000 to fix something that you didn't know about the house, and it'd be too late then. But anyway, once you get your property inspection, I'm trying to run through this real quick. The property inspection on your house, then you're going to get appraisal on the house, and the house has to appraise for what you paid for. The bank don't care if the house appraised for more than what the house is worth. But if the house appraised for less, you got two choices: either get out of the deal or pay the extra money. And I wouldn't advise anybody to pay the extra money. You want to kind of go on and move on and get try to get the seller to reduce the price to the amount. But once the appraisal come in, you get your commitment. They're going to verify your employment. They're going to verify whether you got enough money in your account. And once they verify all the information they need to know, the loan officers that you're working with, their job is they're not the one to get you the loan. They're the one to document the file to make sure all the information is appropriate for the underwriter. So once it's sent to the underwriter decides whether you get the loan or not. And if they agree with your loan, then you go through your title work, and the title work is when you're transferring all this information into your, into your name. The taxes, making sure no judgments on the house, the lien is clear, and all those areas. And then you go into the table and that's when you write your big check, and you get your keys, and then you jump around, and everybody all happy, and everybody get paid. No one gets paid until that happens. However, that's just like the snapshot of the process. But what you do up front going to affect you in the end. And you hear so many times people say, if I knew what I know now, I would have did it all differently. And this is what I'm trying to do. Now, the first form there are some important forms that you have to sign, and you need to be aware of the form. This, I want to pass on. This is what you call, when you go to purchase a house, the first thing you want to do before you purchase a house is ask for a disclosure statement. You're gonna have to share it because I didn't make a lot of copies. It's a disclosure. The disclosure, Maryland requires people to disclose all the information on their house. You have two choices. A seller can decide to disclose the information or disclaim it. If he discloses it, like if he says the plumbing is fine, the electrical is fine, and then you buy the house and it's not fine, you can hold them accountable on a disclosure statement. Most people do not, most sellers do not sign a disclosure statement. They sign the next form, which is called this disclaimer. This disclaimer is to say that we're not taking any responsibility for anything about this house. That means that you would have to go and get a home inspection if you want to know about it, because you can't hold them accountable because they say that they're selling the house as is. So when you sign this form right here, you sign that you buy the house as is. You got to take it a step further by signing as is. So this is a disclaimer, and this is what you want to know before you even sign any contract. Is it a disclosure so you know everything, or is it a disclaimer? If it's a disclaimer, you want to get a property inspection on the house. Okay? So that's the first form that you will be signing, disclosure and disclaimer. Now the big thing is the contract itself. This is what most contracts looks like. Take a copy of it. A contract, in Maryland, you have to put a contract on, when you make an offer, it has to be done in writing. And most real estate agent brokers, they use a contract similar to this. And you want to pay close attention to what you're signing on a contract, because it's going to affect you, because this contract determines the settlement sheet at the end. So some people can buy a house and pay $5,000 for the house for closing costs, and some people walk in closing costs may pay $2,000 or $10,000 in one. I'm going to show you how that works in a minute. But you want to pay close attention to what you're signing and how you sign the contract, because it makes a difference. Of course, the date of the offer, you notice that on here, and the purchase price. Don't let nobody manipulate you what you want to offer. You offer what you want to offer. It's up to the seller to accept it or reject it. And you can negotiate back and forth on that offer. As far as deposit, Maryland only requires you put $1 down, but of course people don't want you to put more than $1. But as long as you put some kind of deposit down, and you can decide who holds the deposit, whether it's the real estate company, title company, the company you're working for, the other company. You can decide on that. Now, the day you go to settlement, most people say, they'll ask you, what day do you want to go to settlement? Oh, I want to go to settlement June 15th. Okay, June 15th sounds nice if you make an arrangement, but you have to realize for every day you go to settlement, it's interest charged per day. So if you go to settlement, say for instance your interest is $50 a day. You're buying $1,000 house at $50 a day. If you go to settlement on June the 30th, you don't pay no interest. So when you get to the settlement sheet, it's going to be zero there. You go to the 29th, it'll be 50. 28th, it'll be 100. 27th, it'll be 150. It keeps, the earlier you go to settlement, the higher the interest. So you said, it's not worth me. I want my $1,000. I can put curtains up. So you wait till the end of the month and save that whole $1,000 because you're not anxious to go to settlement, because you don't realize the 15th is not 15th. 15th is money. 15th is $1,000. So you want to try to push the settlement to the end. So no matter when you go to settlement in June, your settlement is still going to be, your first payment is still going to be August 1st. So no matter when you go, it's still going to be August 1st. It's just how much on the money. You're trying to save money, you want to push the settlement date towards the end of the month. If you need that $1,000, you tight with money. So you want to pay a close attention to that. The next page on here, if you notice the top, it says commitment application. If they tell you got to take application in 10 days, you got to take 10 days. And then it has commitment. If you have to have a commitment in 45 days, if you don't have a commitment in 45 days, the seller can walk out of the contract because you didn't get your loan approved in time. So if you got 45 days and you haven't got approved in 45, do addendum to extend that date. That way you stay in contract. If you don't extend the date, you can put all this money out. If that person want to get out the deal, they can get out because you didn't stay in contract. So those dates are still important. So you want to look at your actually commitment dates. Down here where it says inspection, I'm just going to point out a few things because I've got 10 minutes. It would say inspection decline or inspection addendum attached. You cannot get your property inspected if you say you decline it. So watch where you put your initials at. If you put your initials, just people put this in front of you, just initial in and put an X there. Sometimes I've seen people, they put an X because some agents and people don't want to deal with inspections because it may kill the deal. So they put an X there and you sign what X is and you actually decline your inspection, so you won't have the opportunity to really, and you won't have a choice. You know, if the appraiser don't say anything about it, then you're stuck with whatever problem that house has at that time. Also, every house you get a listing, it tells you everything that the house is being left. Some things are not on the listing that you would like to see, like to have. So you got a list of items. You make sure you take a copy of that listing and go down every item, make sure everything that this says is going to be included is included. Because if you don't check it on here and you think you're getting something, like a washer and dryer, and you come in and be like Richard Pryor, you come in the house and everything, you got all the steps and everything. So you want to make sure that you have everything included in the house, because you don't want to be in a situation where you walk in, everything is gone at settlement. And you want to do a walkthrough on that. Whatever addendums are included in that, you want to make sure that if X is on addendum, you have a copy of each addendum that goes with the contract. Another thing is where it has transfer taxes on page 3. A lot of times transfer taxes is 2% of the price. A lot of times people want to make you pay all the transfer tax. Transfer tax, if your house is $100,000, that's what, $2,000. So if you paying on, so if you paying half, you want to pay $1,000. If they put on here you paying all the transfer taxes, then you paying $2,000. Make sure it stays equal on here. Don't let them manipulate you into saying transfer taxes are, you know, it's not being split on terms of that. Those are the big, and then loan, also points. Points is 1% of the loan amount. So if you borrow $200,000, 1 point is $2,000. So people try to get you to pay transfer taxes and points. Make sure you negotiate your transfer taxes, make sure you negotiate your points, and make sure you negotiate your settlement. It makes a big difference in your settlement sheet. That's how one person is paying a lot more money than another person. So you fight for those areas. You go back and forth and say, hey, you pay half, I'll pay half the transfer tax, but I'm not paying all the points or the price. You know, so that's, if you're short on cash come out of your pocket, you know, you want to look at those particular areas. This form right here is the property inspection form, and that's, you want to make sure that you want to, whatever type of inspection, now you know houses have a lot of issues. They have molding, they have structure problem, mechanical problem, plumbing problem. The first box is structure. You know, any type of structure problem, you want to make sure you check that box no matter what. Because if you want to do inspection, you want to have your own home inspector come in and actually make sure that these problems doesn't exist. That way you can do addendum and have them fix. I mean, sellers want to sell their house, they know their problem, they may not tell you, but they already know that the air conditioner is not working, you know. Now, you foolish enough to go to settlement for a broken air conditioner and didn't have it inspected, that's on you. People patch holes, the roof be leaking, and they done behind walls and stuff. You need to get your inspector so for any structure damage. So any one of these inspections that you want, molding, environmental, chimney, whatever you want, you will have to initial there so that you can get those like that way, and you have a certain amount of days to do it. Now most times inspectors would do that. Okay, I've got to close. So These are the other forms that you have to sign. The main thing is, you look at your settlement sheet, and the settlement sheet will tell you what the costs are for most of the property. And you have listing, exclusive rights to sell, and exclusive rights for buyers and sellers. Okay.